So we are in the 8th Pirkei, mamish towards the end of Shemona Prakim, and yesterday we saw in great length. Yesterday was the longest shir that we had over in the afternoon. So yesterday we discussed the issue was that because free will is so fundamental and so absolute, and so much part of the human experience in every aspect, we had to examine a couple of psukim that seemed to imply that people either didn't have bechira, and not only they didn't have bechira, but they were punished for acting in a situation where they don't have bechira, and that can't be right. That just mathematically, logically, it's an impossible conclusion, because it is unfair and unjust for Hashem to punish us, to punish someone, not us, to punish someone when they don't have bechira. So therefore, the Rambam developed this idea that the reason why Pirkei was punished, when, let's say, by Kriyas Yamsuf and by the end of the Makkos, where it says clearly in the pasuk that Hashem says, "Vani akshes liba v'lev avodav," and Hashem says that I will take away his bechira and then I will punish him. Says the Rambam, no, it's the Masaper Shmi b'chol haaretz. That is because the reason why Pirkei is being punished at that point is not because of the fact that he didn't let the Eden out of Mitzrayim, because at this point he doesn't have a choice. He can't let the Eden go out of Mitzrayim even if he wants to. But the reason is because he was so evil for so many years by his own choice, and in all those years he had countless opportunities every single day. He had the bechira to turn around, and he had the free will, and nothing was forcing him, and nothing was compelling him. By the way, when we say nothing, we mean even what Hashem told Avraham Avinu by the bris ben Absarim ki ger yeh zarach be'eretz la'lahem, even that wasn't manipulating him in any way, because like we saw, the coin toss 50-50. Pirkei and the Mitzrayim all had free will to not partake in this evil that they imposed on the Eden. So for years and years, you had the option to not be bad. So at a certain point, Hashem says that I will punish you in the worst way possible, and that is to I will cause you to stay evil. I will take away the option of your own control over your own self, and you're going to drive yourself into the sea by your own will, basically. Right? You're going to be forced that your own evil and your own bad and your own actions are what's going to bring your demise. And that is so Pirkei ultimately did not get the Eser Makkos because he didn't let the Eden out of Mitzrayim, because he didn't even if he wanted to, he couldn't let the Eden out of Mitzrayim. The reason why Pirkei was punished was because all the evil that he did before that. And the same thing is with Sichon. And now we're going to see that the Rambam says he has proof for this in a Mefurish Pasuk in Navi. Because the Navi, we read this in the Haftorah of Parashas Yisro. So this is the initiating. This is the first nevuah of an inaugural. That's the word what I was looking for. This is the inaugural nevuah of Yeshaya Navi, and Yeshaya Navi is as much as his reputation is that he's kuloi nechama, but some of the most painful nevuahs and some of the harshest nevuahs, like the one we're going to read in Hashem in coming up in Parshas Chazon, is. So this is Parshas Chazon, even though these are the opening words of Yeshaya, Chazon Yeshaya ben Omid, they're not his first nevuah. His first nevuah is in Perek Vav, and that is a vision that he has where he sees, it's sort of similar to Yecheskel Perek Aleph and Yecheskel Perek Chestes in many ways, and that is that he goes into Hashem's, to the Beis HaMikdash, and not only the Beis HaMikdash, to the Heichal Hashem on high, and he hears Hashem say, who is going to be my Navi? Who's going to go for me? And who's going to carry my word to Klal Yisrael? And he volunteers. The Psukim over there, Hashem says, Hashman leva mazeh ve'oznav hachbeit, basically fatten their hearts, the hearts of Klal Yisrael, that they should be desensitized. Why should they be desensitized? Because if he'll be sensitive and if he'll see what's coming his way, then he might do tshuva and he'll be healed. Says the Rambam, what does it tell you? It says that Hashem tells them, fatten up their hearts because they deserve such punishment, because Klal Yisrael was bad for so many years, because Klal Yisrael engaged in behavior that they brought themselves to a point of no return. Therefore, I want to bring onto them so much bad and so much punishment and so much judgment. So what I need to is, Hashmin and Leiv Amazes. Their ears shouldn't hear, their eyes shouldn't see, their hearts shouldn't feel, because if they will feel, they'll do tshuva. And if they do tshuva, then V'shavar Rafalai. And then if they tshuva, they'll heal. And I don't want them to healed because I think, and my judgment says, my divine wisdom and divine righteous judgment says that they sinned enough and they did so much evil that they deserve the judgment that's coming their way. So says the Rambam, sometimes the Rambam is giving you two. He's being very reluctant. It's sometimes some Rishonim, it could be that they could bring themselves to a situation and Hashem does not leave people to bechira to do tshuva. Fatten their hearts, and their ears should become heavy, and so on and so forth. Why? Because they shouldn't do tshuva and they should heal themselves. Says the Rambam, this is a proof text. This is a clear verse that supports my shita, my claim that sometimes a Rasha, like Paroi, like Sichon, and like the Yidden that were that Yeshaya was being menabatu, that they did so much bad and so much evil that they couldn't. That Hashem really says that Hashmin and that they should be fat, they should be desensitized, because if they'll be sensitive and if they'll really feel and they'll take in what's coming their way, then they might do tshuva. Lest they do tshuva, because if they do tshuva, and then they will be healed, and Hashem doesn't want them to be healed. Says the Rambam, this is a key for many locks. So this is the ultimate, this is key, right? So if you're looking for a source, so here you have an old source where the Rambam says, this is key. Right? This is a key that opens many locks. And what he means by saying this is a key that opens many locks is that here you have a pasuk. You have a problem by Parai. You have a problem by Sichon. How could it be that Hashem punishes people that didn't have free will? So Hashem not only intervened b'derech nes, because free will is part of the DNA of a human being. So Hashem intervened and took away a person's free will, and then Hashem punished him for it, which is a divine injustice. How could such a thing be? Says the Rambam, you know where the key for that is? The key for these locks, the key for these mysteries is in Yeshaya, where there's a clear passage that Hashem says, why? V'shav, what does it say? V'shav erafalai. Because he might do tshuva, and if he does tshuva, he's going to be healed, and Hashem doesn't want him to be healed. So here you see this idea. On this foundation, I'll show you many other locks. So now the Rambam is walking around with this key of Hashman Levam Azev V'Shav Rafalai, and he's going to open a couple of, this is the master key. So we with this issue, so Ephraim fragt was Abrabanel Emfit. Abrabanel argues with the Rambam. When Abrabanel says that this idea is acceptable to him, right? When Abrabanel says that he might even accept this idea that some people are bad enough that they can't do tshuva, his argument is that is only by Yidden and not by Goyim. The Rambam clearly disagrees with him, so he's disagreeing with the Rambam. He's not forever. He accepts part of the Rambam's logic by Parah and by Sichon, and he won't really accept it by Yeshaya. He's going to give a different pshat in the pasuk in Yeshaya. So now. Some other areas that the Rambam tells Eliyahu Hanavi in Har Carmel says one of the most difficult psukim to learn in Tanakh, and that is that he turns to Hashem and he says, "Va'ata hasibayis liba macharanas," and you are the one that turned Klal Yisrael away from you were the one that turned their hearts away from yourself. Right? You caused the Klal Yisrael should worship Avodah Zarah. And that Chazal already say, it's a very problematic statement to make. Right? Hashem causes the Eden to worship Avodah Zarah. How could it be? We know that there's free will. We know that the entire Torah, there's no such thing. Why would Hashem turn Klal Yisrael's hearts away from himself? Says the Rambam that what Eliyahu Hanavi means to say, Kaloima, after they, by their own will, by their own free will, they rebelled against Hashem's will, your punishment for them was that you did not give them, you did not enable them to do tshuva. And you didn't leave to them free will. The reason why Klal Yisrael for hundreds of years are worshipping Avodah Zarah at this point, says Eliyahu Hanavi, is granted that there was 100 years that they worshipped Avodah Zarah and they had free will and they could have done tshuva. But for the past 100 years, the reason why they are worshipping Avodah Zarah is because of you. Is because you decided. Now again, I am not divine and I don't understand your punishment. But the reason why Klal Yisrael is a nation of idol worshippers at Eliyahu Hanavi's time, the guilt is Hashem's, because these people were raised in a culture of Avodah Zarah because they did not have the free will anymore to do tshuva. Why didn't they have a free will? You're right, because they deserved it at a certain point that their tshuva, that their ability to make their own decisions and their ability to put themselves on the right track were gone. Now you can even make an argument that this is a natural progression, because sometimes a person brings himself to a situation where he can't help himself anymore, right? So when we say that every person has free will, yes, so every person really has free will, but a person could put himself in a situation where his free will is going to be tremendously compromised. So, because, right, so if someone take alcoholism or any addiction for that matter, so everyone has an option not to be an addict, right? So at a certain point, you drink, gamble, whatever it is. A person knows when they could get out of it. So the person could get out of it. But there's something in him that drives him further. Now, at any point, the person could stop cold turkey. But if a person does this often enough, then a person becomes an addict, and then that person doesn't have free will. So what we saw here in the Rambam, we can really look at it as a multi-level idea. It's the way we presented it is that if a person is evil enough by his own free will, then Hashem intervenes, takes away his free will, and the person can't do tshuva anymore. There could be another reading in the Rambam, and that is that is the cycle of evil itself. There is a certain vicious cycle where if a person is consistent enough, and he drives himself to desensitize himself, and sometimes he gets addicted to a lifestyle of depravity. Then at a certain point, this his bechira might be tremendously compromised, and that is a very, very difficult reading. But I definitely identify with that because I think it's something we see, we witness, and unfortunately, but I do think that the silver lining sort of is the rock bottom, because when people hit rock bottom, then even if people be'emes get into a vicious cycle and they're addicted and they can't see themselves get out of their problems, and it is sort of their own evil, their own downside, their own weaker parts of their character that they fed in so much over these years. So you had free will for 10 years. Now, at a certain point, Rebbe Leib, I'm sorry, now there's no more free will, because now a person is so addicted, so intertwined in all of his bad habits that he can't see himself out, and he might really not be able to see himself out. But what I hope, and really I've seen this, and in my own experience and with other people, is that even when you get into very bad habits, and even though when you get into a very bad cycle, that even you might not be able to help yourself, maybe other people can help you. Maybe you have a friend, maybe you have a moment of inspiration, maybe sometimes you hit rock bottom, maybe sometimes you think that your life is you realize how much of your life, so you're not really in a pariah situation. But I'm just giving another alternative reading in the Rambam over here, and that is, let's get back to Eliyahu Navi. What Eliyahu Navi is telling Hashem is that you, Hashem, are responsible for the fact that Klal Yisrael is over there with this Zara, because you intervened and you took away their bechira. Why? Maybe they deserved it. But and there's another passage that says, that Ephraim cleaved to his idolatry and Hashem let him go. So what he's saying is that he cleaved by his own free will. He loved and he cleaved to his getchkes. And what is the punishment that Hashem did? That Hashem says, okay, this is what you want so much, this is what you're doing for so long. You have free will for 15 years, 100 years, 200 or 300 years, and you're not letting go of your avodah zarah. You know what? I'm not even going to give you the ability to realize the sheker, to realize the detriment that this brings onto yourself, and finished. And you are going to bring your own demise, and this is consistent with what the Rambam said till now. And this is one of the best pshatim for anyone that has a sensitive and real sophisticated understanding. He's going to love my pshat. So, if you have any self-respect, you have to say, psh. Yeah, we get it. Anyway, but we do. It's the Holy Rambam. So, but the Rambam himself is, it's probably the second or third time where the Rambam is complimenting his own pshat, and so this is sort of where the Rambam finishes with this idea. But there is one caveat to this. So because there's other pasuk that the Rambam just has to get it out of the way, so you shouldn't bring it as a kashatim, because there's a pasuk that says all the way in the Yeshaya, Mamre Yeshaya Lama Taseinu Hashem B'derchecha Takshiach Libenu Miyirasecha. That Yeshai is complaining to Hashem, why are you turning us away from your avodah? Why are you turning us away? Why are you turning us off? Why are you turning us away from your Yiras Shamayim? So according to the Rambam, what's Yeshai complaining about? You yourself, your first nevuah, this is towards the end of your career, but all the way in the beginning of your career, your first nevuah, your very first nevuah was Hashmei Leiva Mazeh Pen Yom. So what are you asking? So according to the Rambam, Yeshai is having tanas on the Eibishter, and he's saying, why are you turning us away? You know the answer. Hashem told you more than any other Navi. Hashem gave you the key, capital K. Hashem gave you the key, and he told you that there is a concept of Pen Yom V'Shav V'Raf. So why are you asking? Maybe the Rambam shot is wrong. Says the Rambam, no. When Yeshai is saying why Hashem is turning us away, he's having a different argument. He's not implying that Hashem actually is taking away Klal Yisrael's bechira and he is turning away Yidden from Hashem. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is like this. It says there is no shaykhs, but you have to read this pasuk in context. And the context over there is that Yishai is talking about the Golos, and the Klal Yisrael and Golos, and they're dispersed among all the nations. And all the Rishonim, all the Goyim, all the Avos Zara, they are all controlling Klal Yisrael. And it's so Klal Yisrael is broken, shattered, dispersed, and all this situation of the diaspora. In when Klal Yisrael is in such an unfortunate situation, and all the Goyim and all the Avos Zara are on top, and they're taking advantage of Klal Yisrael, and they're enslaving Klal Yisrael, and they're subjecting them to terrible, hard work and labor and all types of torture and murder that there was. So what Yeshaya says is that this is a turnoff in Judaism. It's not that Hashem is intervening. It's the situation itself is a chil Hashem. The situation is where someone says, "This is Hashem's people. This is what Ovdei Hashem. This situation. That's it." Meaning, Yeshaya is saying that when Hashem punishes us, maybe we deserve to be punished. Maybe we deserve to go on Golos. But the problem is that Hashem's, and this is what we spoke about in the Parasha Shir last week, that Hashem's reputation is connected with Klal Yisrael's fate. And that is what Yeshaya is telling the Eibishter. You're right, maybe we deserve punishment. But the problem is that being that you punish us, and being that we're in Golos, and being that they're going to take advantage of us, that is a chil Hashem. That's a chil Hashem because it looks terrible. It looks like you can't help yourself. It looks like you can't help us. And therefore, why, Hashem, even if we deserve to be punished, but why are you turning us off from Avodah Hashem? How do you expect us to daven? How do you expect us to have betachan and emunah when it seems that when the situation is so helpless, and when kaviyachol you can't help your own people? So the chilul Hashem, the optics are so bad that Klal Yisrael is having a hard time to connect it. And so that's really what he's saying. He's not implying that Hashem intervened and he took away the bechira, and therefore, no, that's not what he's saying at all. He's saying something else completely. He's saying that granted we deserve to be punished, granted we deserve to go on Golos, but the problem is that there's a big chil Hashem, and this is an argument that we see in Tanakh a lot. So says the Rambam, that Yeshai was complaining about the Golos and the fact that we migrated and we were dispersed and the Goyim ruled over us in a terrible, dominating way. And so there, Yeshaya davening, he says, Hashem, when Klal Yisrael sees this matzav, when the koifrim, the Avos Zara, they're the ones that control us. They're the ones that dominate over Klal Yisrael. Yisum derech emes. They will veer off the right path. Klal Yisrael, the Yidden that see this and experience this, they will go off the path. And they will go away from Yiras Hashem. And therefore, you by extension will be the one who actually caused Klal Yisrael to go off the path. And that's very similar to what Moshe Rabbeinu said. Moshe Rabbeinu says that when the Goyim see that, meaning even if Klal Yisrael deserves to die after the Egel or after the Meraglim, Klal Yisrael really deserves to die. Maybe Klal Yisrael deserves to be punished. What Moshe Rabbeinu tells Hashem is that I'm not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying is that it's a chil Hashem. A chil Hashem means that the Goyim will say that Hashem can't take the Yidden into Eretz Yisrael. What does Hashem answer? Hashem says that Moshe Rabbeinu is right. Klal Yisrael deserves to be punished. Klal Yisrael deserves to be wiped out. But I can't afford my reputation, the Chilul Hashem Shaboy, I can't afford to have the Goyim assume that it's my ability Chilul Hashem. And what the Rambam is saying, that this is really Yeshaya's argument. And the Rambam says that this idea that in Golos, Klal Yisrael feels like there's no reason to be Aved Hashem because the Aved Hashem don't have it good in Golos. Because the people who actually worship Aved Hashem have it better. So this idea, this concept that there's a real Chil Hashem from the success that the Goyim have, and the pain and the torture and the suffering that Klal Yisrael goes through in Golos, that's something you see in Novi. In Treyos, it says, Divrei roitvei emes an shlotam ha'yidei hagoyim izman haGolos. That the people who chase the truth, meaning the Yidden that connected the Torah, the Yirei Hashem, that learn Torah, when they suffer by the hands of the Avos Zara, what does it say in Divrei Yomim? Kol oisera toiv bein Hashem. That everyone that does bad, everyone that does evil, it looks like Hashem likes him. And behemu chafetz, ay Elahei mishpat. Where is the Elahei mishpat? Where is the God of justice? It looks like the God of justice prefers bad people over good people. Because look what he does to the bad people. The bad people are successful, they're rich, they have dominion, they have money, they have power, they have whatever they want. And the few Erlich Yidden are in ghettos and they're wearing yellow stars and they're taken advantage of in every way. So what does Golos do? Golos turns away Yidden because if you open your eyes and you experience the world and you dial up all the numbers in your mind and you see, look, something doesn't add up. Elahei mishpat, Elahei mishpat. V'siper gamkem metoik vagolos, and it says, Amartem, Hashem tells the Novi that Klal Yisrael says, Shav avoid alehem. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of energy to worship Hashem. And what do we gain from keeping the Torah? Any Satmar Chassid that knows anything about it, knows these psukim by heart. This is the Nusa Torah. Anyway, is Ima Betzak Yishamanu Mishmartoi. V'chi halachnu k'deranas b'mnei Hashem tzavayis. V'atu anachnu ma'Hashem zaydim. Perish, and then Hashem says that I'm going to come out and I'm going to tell you the truth. And what the people there say is, what gain is it, that we keep Hashem's Torah? Why should we walk submissively, in the ways of Hashem? Why? We don't gain anything. Fakir. We gain more. The Rishonim, the Zaydim, they look better, and therefore we should support them and we should go with them. And that is sort of the optics. That is the Chilul Hashem as a result of Galus. So back to that is just a big Mamar HaMuzgir, because the Rambam introduced this idea that sometimes a person, sometimes when a person gets into when he has a behavior, when he consistently acts in not every person, but there are examples, whether it's Sichon or Parai, or the Yidden that were Ovid of the Zara in Achav's period, or the Yidden in the beginning of Ba'asheni that Malachi talks about, that in all these situations, no, I'm sorry, not Malachi, don't forget it, cancel. The Yidden in Yeshaya's time, right? All these cases, when it seems that Hashem is punishing people that did not have Bechira, what the Rambam is arguing is that these people did have Bechira. For most of the time they had Bechira. And they had years and years and years to get out of whatever bad situation they were in. And they had a choice and they didn't, and they persisted. You persist again, year in, year out. At a certain point Hashem says, you deserve to be punished. And therefore, I'm not giving you the option to come clean anymore. Now, again, this is a very high level of tshuva, or a very low level of a person driving himself down that drain. But it comes to a certain point where Hashem says that's a point of no return, and that's it. But this other issue in Yeshaya, that's another shmuz. That's just Yeshaya saying that Hashem indirectly, as a result of Hashem punishing Klal Yisrael, the optics look so bad, and that turns off many Yidden from Yiddishkeit. Anyway, but back to the point. And these psukim that seem to imply that Hashem compels people to do averes, so we solved this issue and we came to a clear understanding, and therefore we come back to the drawing board, and that is the foundational principle. And that is this foundation, a person has free will and he chooses his actions, what he wants, he does, and what he doesn't want, he doesn't do. And therefore that's why Hashem punishes him on his evil, and because he had the option not to do it, and therefore, I Rambam and I Pirkei Avos and I Torah, we come to you and we tell you, you have the option to correct your path. You have the option to refine your character. You have the option to work on yourself, work on your midas, work on your eating habits, work on the way you talk to people, work on the way you look on the street. You could work on all these things and it's incumbent upon you, because you have the control. You control your own self. You control your own destiny, and therefore take control of it. Take responsibility for it, and because no one is manipulating you, no one is forcing you. And this is what it says in the Mishnah. Im ein ani li mili. Im ein ani li mili means if no one is going to look out for me, then who will? And therefore, the maskana is mani kan hakol kan, right? That everything that I need, I have. I have all the tools. It's in my ability, and I could take control. And if I do, then I will be a good person, and I will be a praiseworthy person. I will be Avram Avinu. There's a path of Avram Avinu, there's a path of Bilam. That's what the Mishnah in Avos says. You could choose. And Avram and Bilam both had a choice. And they both chose their path, and that's why they're praiseworthy, and the opposite. And you, yourself, every single day of your life, because what are the chances that you're in this very exclusive club of Parai and Sichon? You're not that good. You're not that special. Don't take the credit for yourself. You have the option. You saw Menashe. Menashe is someone who the Churban Beit Hamikdash happened because of Menashe. Even Menashe could do tshuva. If Menashe could do tshuva, maybe he doesn't have Chelik L'Adam Haba. That's a shmuz for a different time. But the biggest Rishonim in Tanakh, they all had the option to do tshuva. So you definitely could do tshuva. You're not that bad. You're not as bad as you think. And the reason why you want to tell yourself that you can't do tshuva, and you're being manipulated, whether it's by nature, by genetics, by astrology, by Hashem's will, by whatever it is, it's all laziness. It's all you're running away from responsibility. You know that the second you really reckon with the fact that you are in control, the second you really take ownership of your own situation, then you understand what you need to do. Then you understand that you have your work cut out for you. You could look at yourself in the mirror and say that the reason why I'm a mess, and the reason why I am not the person that I want to be, the reason why I'm not the father that I always thought, the husband that I always thought, the yid that I always thought, the reason why I am not that person is only me to blame. And only, forget it, you can stop blaming everyone else. So look at yourself in the mirror and understand that Hashem tells you today, and therefore you have Bechir, and you will be treated based on the choices you make. So learn Masechtas Avos, take control of your actions, and you'll be a good person, hopefully. But you have your work cut out for you, and stop making excuses. So that is sort of where the Rambam ends, and he just has one little point that he didn't mention yet, and that is the question of Yediyah Bechir. So that is something we'll see in Me'ez Hashem next week, and hopefully next week we'll finish Shmona Prakim. Please stay with us, and maybe we have an exciting project for after Shmona Prakim, as I mentioned.